Uh, there were some people that said that you know how some people when a person is deceased in the grave or whatever, you know how people go to contacting people, maybe contacting people that they ain't talked to in a while, but they normally don't contact you unless it's really some serious stuff. You know what I mean? And you be like, and the person don't even be thinking about the person. All they thinking about is the way the person that deceased that they gonna tell that deceased. They all they gonna remember is the wrong shit that they did in their mind. You see what I'm saying? That's all they gonna remember. And by people, the person that's gonna be honest, that's gonna keep it real, he's not gonna sit up there and act like that person was the best shit. Mm-mm. That's not gonna happen. They're not gonna sit up there and act like that person was the best shit. They're not gonna do that. You know? So it's like, and I asked myself this question: out of everybody all over, people that know me, I'm not talking about the people that don't know me. I'm talking about the people that know me. Whether I lived in Georgia, which me and my parents' mother, we did live in Georgia at one time. Having a father, I wasn't really around him at all. I don't know what that would be. It was just like, you know, it's almost like you never met him, even though I have in the last years of his life. The only one time, we seen him, and that was the last year he was dying of lung cancer. He was smoking. He smoked cigarettes, and he died from that. And I said, if you look at a lot of my videos, I pretty much covered a lot. I said a lot. I'm just reiterating. That's all. But anyway, you may hear me say it again from time to time in another video. Who knows? It might be tomorrow. It just all depends. But um, out of all of the people in the world that I know, I want to talk about some things. And I want to also just make sure. You know how some people say, I want to make sure, according to God, that I'm calling myself an election sure. The people that I came in contact with in Georgia, if you in Georgia, I'm gonna say it like this here. If you in Georgia, and if anybody, whether you worked in a business, whether it was in whatever, Kmart, Walmart, or whatever, if uh, I'm talking about my people of color, because only my people can relate to me, although they don't see it like that. You know what I mean? Um, you know what I'm saying? Out of all of the reactions that I gave, stuff like that being rejected by women, I should say, didn't understand why. All I know is that I was trying to like talk to them and stuff, but at the same time, it didn't turn out good. I always end up not winning. Losing. You feel like you lose. And and to get rejected, it's a hurting thing. But as I've gotten older, It's like I'm the way I was thinking when I was 30 versus me being in my like 40s, 47 is totally different. My thinking is totally different. It's like I have a desire. Doesn't mean I still don't have a desire for one, but at the same time, by me coming into the laws and statutes and commandments of the Most High God, I'm although I'm approaching it differently, and it's several other things I want to talk about too. But um, the way I deal with it now, I deal with it a very different. My approach is different. I feel different about it. It's like fear the Most High now, and if I don't deal with it properly and correctly, like back then, if you when I was in my 30s, I got rejected by a woman, and they looked at me a certain way, and I felt like they was just disrespecting me by the, you know what I mean, and they done everything they can to humiliate your ego when you approach them and stuff. I immediately, if I felt that they was like looking at me funny or whatever, I disrespected them back. And I felt, when I look back on it now, I'm like, damn, I hate I did that. I hate I made the mistakes like that. So they had this one particular young lady before I came back to Louisiana, my hometown. I say, if I see that young lady, I'm gonna walk up to that lady and I'm gonna apologize to that woman. That's what I did. She was a kind of like, she was much lighter than me. And I walked up, this was in Food Depot's grocery store. And I said, "Do you remember me when was approaching you and I got mad and I went off and this and that and the third?" He said, "Yeah, but I just want to let you know I truly am what I said, I'm truly sorry about that." It was a black woman. I said, "I'm truly sorry about how I approach you. I mean, how I went in and what I said." That's what I was saying to myself, you know what I mean? Even though I had good intentions, you know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. People know you got good intentions. Well, I don't know. They probably didn't know that, but I know I had good intentions. But it's still a lot of people, a man wouldn't have excused that, that they still would have felt like, hey, wait a minute, my daughter's being disrespected. Come on, you could have came off better than that. You could have been more mature about it or whatever, because most people would have, like, if they not in the spirit, they'll handle you, they'll try to handle you up, especially, as a so-called black man, black woman, they don't want, you know what I'm saying? So me being the you know under, coming into understanding and the knowledge of this message here, I didn't understand it. I thought something was wrong with me, and that's why when I came into this truth, and they talked about the curses was being broke down in Deuteronomy. That's why I say I definitely can relate to the curses in Deuteronomy 28, because in the so-called Black African American community, we don't have that unity to where we can actually go and talk to our women and stuff like that. And I said, maybe, I don't know. That's why maybe the Most High. I was always wondering why that the Most High. I don't know. I no should I. I was wondering why I was being rejected. I was wondering why would I was like, is the Most High trying to tell me something? Why would He put me through a situation like that to get rejected by? Why is it that we having all these problems? I'm not doing that. So see, at that time I was looking at it like this here. I wasn't doing nothing wrong. I even tried to come out with the Bible. I was even trying to quote Bible texts and all of that, and that within itself, they say you can't be going around talking about the Bible and trying to quote scriptures to these girls and stuff like that. You're gonna run them off with religion and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I'm like, well, why do they don't want to? I'm like, well, they don't want a good guy. I don't get it. What would make them want to have a mindset not to even want to be with a guy? They feel that's lame and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And it was like our women, they don't want a good guy. You see what I'm saying? They don't want a good guy, a guy that's gonna sit down and read the Bible to them, and all they'll look at them as lame and you weak and stuff like that. So I felt like pretty much me me seeking for a woman or a wife or whatever you want to call it. I felt like with me being living the life that I was living, and every time I turned, most of the stuff that came out my mouth when I approached him and talked to him about a few minutes, I was talking on the Bible. You see what I'm saying? Now I didn't even know all the truth. I didn't even know anything, none of the breakdown, the mysteries of Esau, and all that kind of stuff, the curses in Deuteronomy. But you better believe, if I was thinking, if I understood it, of course I'd have been telling him. but I didn't know it at the time. When I was in my 30s, I had no clue about. I thought I understood the Bible in that way, but I didn't. And but what I knew, I shared it with them. I was always talking on the Sabbath and this and that, not eating this and that and the third, and eating right, this and that and the third. You know what I'm saying? And so, by me being in the Bible, most of I would say, and from what I seen, my experience, they wasn't feeling me as a man being in the Bible because I'm thinking like, why would they reject a man who was in the Bible? And then I started, it dawned on me, and that's when I started. As I gotten older, I started realizing that they probably grew up in a dysfunctional home. They didn't know what that was. They didn't have a father in their life to fulfill that role as knowing what a man's supposed to be like in the family. Because let's just be honest, most of the women today, hold on, wait a minute, hold on. Most of the women today is not even attracted to nothing like that. That to them, for a guy, the average youngest woman, most of them look at you, label you as lame. You know, you weak. They label you as weak. You know what I mean? And that's, and then I feel like this hand. If I couldn't read nothing else, I can definitely read a lot of the stuff in the Bible. You see what I'm saying? Um, I would try to even quote scriptures like this to him. I wouldn't like to me. I don't think maybe my response was wrong when as soon as I would be getting rejected, I would be cussing them out and stuff like that, which was a wrong thing to do. You know what I mean? But me not knowing back then, and stuff like that, not knowing what was, you know what I mean, not, you know what I'm saying, when you don't have a knowledge of the of certain things of the Most High, you're gonna speak foolish, you're gonna respond in a foolish way, like I was doing, when I was in my 30s or whatever. You know what I'm saying? From 30 all the way to 39, I was mostly reject. Some of them talked to me, some of them gave me their numbers, some of them gave me fake numbers and stuff like that. So the reason why I'm bringing all this stuff up, I'm comparing it with Deuteronomy 28, because I'm thinking about that. I'm like, okay, this is only happening to the Hispanic man, the black man, the so-called black man, or so-called people of color. I said, and when I came in contact with the Hebrew brothers and stuff like that, and they broke down Deuteronomy 28, all that stuff, and then that's when it really went to open it up to me, that it gave me a general idea that when they break down Deuteronomy 28 and 46, where it says these curses will be upon the children of Israel for a sign and for a wonder upon our seed forever. So when they actually went in and broke that down, then all of that stuff that I thought about over the years that I tried to get with a girl, because all I wanted to literally do is sit down and read the Bible. Because they said, that's what else you do besides reading the Bible? And they're like, oh my goodness, they must have, like, oh my goodness, you know what I mean. So that's when I kind of realized I had a general idea that they probably this wasn't the one. You know what I mean? Because they would ask me questions like, what else you do besides read the Bible? Because back in the day when I was in my 30s, they wasn't really trying to even hear the Bible. They didn't care whether you was a man or war. They didn't respect the man. They really didn't they didn't care about the man, or they didn't care nothing about him, even if he had good integrity and a man that would actually try to love them and protect them and be there for them and read them the scriptures and teach them the commandments and tell them that they would love them, tell them that they genuinely would care for them, and tell them that they genuinely would care for the kids and stuff like that. It's like it's unattractive to them, to tell a when I was in my 30s, to tell a female something like that was totally like you was lame, and that it's like you was automatically became unattracted to them. You're not attracted to them. You know what I mean? They'll say things to me like that. What I said in so many words, like, I'm not attracted to you. I'm not ready for a relationship right now. But really, it really was rejection. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my goodness, like this here. Well, I appreciate you approaching me. I appreciate you was nice about it. You was this and that and the third. You was I appreciate your, you know what I mean? Um, just saying anything. Well, I'm in school. I'm trying to focus on school right now, and this and that and the third. And so, like, it just was bad for me. You know what I mean? So I at that time I didn't take rejection well. You know what I mean? But as I gotten older and I understood these curses in Deuteronomy 28, it kind of like opened up, and I started. That's when I started to realize that okay, the whole time. This is the reason why this happened like this, because it's not really happening to the other nation of people like it's happening to a man of color. You know what I'm saying? More than likely, a person of color from I'm just speaking from experience right now. You know what I mean? Will experience that. Like if you try to be polite to the sister or something like that, like excuse me, ma'am, how you doing? Excuse me. Oh no, you like they're like a walk off or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Some of them, if you try to stop them or something like that, they might keep walking or something like that. I'm like, oh my goodness. I ain't gonna lie, it was hurtful now. It was hurtful. It was hurtful, And I thought about this scripture here that a lot of our Hebrew brothers read a lot. Shout out to y'all who read this here. It said, now in the days of David drew, this is first Kings 2:1. Now the days of David drew nigh that he should die. And he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. By be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man, and keep the charges of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, whithersoever thou turnest thyself. So he says, keep the charges of the Lord. He says, I go, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man. Now, I love how a lot of our Hebrew brothers break that down. Show yourself a man. It didn't say, like the brother was saying, like I like how the brother was saying, Brother Melvin was broke it down. It was I love the breakdown. You see what I'm saying? Where he says he didn't say show yourself a girl, show yourself like cute, show yourself a man. You know what I mean? And I like how that part of the scripture was broke down. That was I loved it. That you know what I mean? I love how that was broke down. That was really dope. How that was broke down. You know what I'm saying? Show thyself a man. He didn't say show yourself a little boy or whatever. He said show yourself a man. And anyway, I didn't take it that well. And I said, well, maybe it may be a few other things wrong with me. Maybe I need to get myself together. And I was in the Christian church still. I was in the Seventh Day Adventist church then. I'm like, oh, don't look like I ever find the one. You know what I mean? So I just got to the place when I turned 39 in my late 30s, 39, when I hit 39 and 40, I just didn't even, it don't bother me as bad as it used to. The way it bothered me when I was younger, as I gotten older, it just didn't bother me. I just said, well, maybe and so that's around, let's see here, 2018 is when when I met, I got on YouTube and I just pulled up one of the Hebrew Brothers channel. And I started watching the videos of the breakdown. That's when I began and I got into the breakdowns and I said, whoa. You see what I'm saying? Because prior to that same year, I I was playing and I was walking out in front of a car, and no, I wouldn't. Like I was the officer. He came and they saw me, and up there in Georgia, if you crosswalking or whatever, if you're crosswalking, they'll turn around and they'll give you a ticket So they gave me a ticket for $110. And I say, damn, that was on a Sunday night. I mean, it was on like Monday going into a Monday. So I had to go to work the next day because I was still working at a restaurant called Popeyes then. And I think it kind of like with my mother, it put an extra burden on her. You know what I'm saying? You know how it is. You know what I'm saying? And when they pulled me over, I can remember them saying the officer got on the phone and said, "We got a black male here," just like that. He described the type of shirt I had on and some shorts. Matter of fact, I still got that shirt in here to this day. It's like a sweater shirt. Matter of fact, where is it? Hold on. I'll get it. And I remember it like yesterday. Hold on. Yeah. Where that shirt at? I knew I saw it this morning. I knew I saw that shirt this morning. Don't tell me that y'all gonna give me a hard time finding it. I figured that. I seem like I saw it this morning though. Seem like I actually saw it. When you ain't really looking for something, it's there. But when you really, when you really looking for something, it's there. That's weird. Here we go. Here it is, right here. I gotta do something with it. Hold on. This is literally the shirt I had on. It's long sleeves, but it needs to be cleaned up. You know what I'm saying? But the so happened in my family they helped me pay the ticket and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, even though it was just $110, that's still a lot because so many of us as people of color and so-called black people, we don't even have that. You see what I'm saying? So when I come in contact with the Hebrew brothers, that's what made me realize that I truly can relate to this here. You see what I'm saying? I truly can relate to this here. That's what I was saying. Because in Deuteronomy 28 and verse 46, it said these curses, like I said earlier, will be upon us for a sign and for a wonder. So I said, well, maybe it's got to say, well, maybe it is talking to me. I said, I don't know for sure. Maybe it is. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I took it up, and that's why I came into being, I cater to this here, and it caused me to start speaking on it, try to speak out about it, and that's because before I came into the Israelite faith, I was kind of speaking on stuff like this, but I wasn't as heavy, and I had no knowledge of who Esau was at the time. All I knew that Esau Esau was hairy, and Jacob it described them as a smooth man, and it described the characteristics of Jacob chilling at home. It described Esau as is like cunning hunter. He likes to go hunt. Then they like to eat their meat red and stuff like that. So other than that, but I still didn't take time to get the mystery. I mean the full breakdown of it. And when the brothers on the streets actually broke it down, I said, "Oh, that's actually talking about the white people." Like that. That's all I think I can. That's what when I started to my mindset started to expand, and I started to realize, okay, that maybe this might be a reason why our women was acting like this, and maybe that's why I was getting rejected the whole time. Maybe this has something to do with the prophecy and then when they broke down the part where in Deuteronomy 28:54, where it says his the woman that was tender and delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and her eye shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom, be evil toward the man. When all that was broke down, I said, It's like, you know how you hear something and they say, "Oh, that sounds familiar." That's literally how it felt, you know? Oh, okay, that's why I can relate to this then. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because you compare you when you look at when you hear the breakdown, when I heard the breakdowns of Deuteronomy 28, and when I looked at all of the things that happened all throughout my life, like 30s, I started wondering, I started thinking on that. And I said, well, maybe it might be because the Bible ain't talking to everybody. But I said, maybe he is talking to me because when I would hear it, I'd be like, yep. You know, like, you know how they breaking a scripture down and like, yep. I said, yep, that makes sense. That makes sense. Like, yep. I said, yep, yep. I should, that's true. That's true. You know, that's how it was when I was back then when I was actually, I wasn't like, well, I don't think it matters what? No, I wouldn't on that type. No, I would never. I ain't never gave that type of energy. Like saying things like, "Well, it doesn't matter really what color." I say, "Hell no." I say it does matter. That's what I was saying. I say it does. I say if it didn't matter, why would they pick with us? Why would they just pick me out? Or they I say because we do. I say I was like, the people of color, the black people, does receive more of a target or more of a like the worst of the punishment. It does seem like they are a little hard on the African Americans. I said this years ago when I in 2018 when I said, yeah, come to think of it, that is true. Yeah, and then I started, my mind started thinking like, well, you know what, I didn't. No, I didn't grow up with my father. You know what I'm saying? That's how I was thinking. I didn't grow up with my father, and I was like, I wonder, is it talking to me? Because I said, I know the Bible ain't talking to everybody, and I was like, it's got to be talking to me, because he said these curses gonna be up on our people for a sign and for wonder. I said the only thing I said we grew up in we was like low on food resources and stuff like that. We always was low on food resources and stuff. We didn't, we didn't ask for it. It just we was born into it. I said, well, we grew up and we had a single parents and then we ate per month. We survived off of every month from government and stuff like that. I said, okay, yeah. Yeah, we survived. We had our lights turned off. I said, because well, I said, no, I don't remember our fathers saying that they had laid up some stuff in store for us and all. I said, no, we didn't get that. I said, we just probably might probably do fit probably as part of these prophecies here. I said, well, okay. I said, I'm gonna have to look at more of these videos because I need to know. I'm like, man, I need to know who what nation of people I come from. That's important. I said, I was told Creole. I said, yeah, they said, and then as soon as they broke down the Creole, the Haitian, and all that kind of means hell when the French man conquered the Native Americans, then you got free people of color and all that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, I said, damn, I don't know. I said, I'm gonna have to keep praying on this end because they would do the breakdowns about a landmass and all that kind of stuff just because you have people in Mexico, everybody in Mexico is not really real Mexicans, and everybody that's in Spain is not real Spaniards. I mean, it's things like that. Well, I didn't even know what Spaniard was, and none of that. You see what I'm saying? I just do know that they said like either you got people living in France, Irish, Germany. You got some people that's from Germany. Like you have a lot of black people born and raised in Germany. So they are because they were born and raised. They'll say they just from Germany. They German. So they actually believe that they're Germanists or whatever. You know what I mean? And then the brothers on the streets would break it down and say, well, you have a lot of our people over there that just like you have a lot of people born here in America. You know what I mean? But does that mean that this is your original place? No. You know what I mean? Like and then I thought about how I said, what did I really put on my application years ago? I was like, what did I put on my application? Just like that, you know. And they would hold on, let me turn this thing around like this. They would say things like, um, I'm like, when I filled out an application for a job, they would put things like, I mean, I'm tripping. I would put something like, I used to long time ago when I was 16, I would put African American. But as I gotten older, like when I was got my job at Popeyes, I would say African American. I would put down on my application African American, you know, and I stopped putting that. And that's when I really realized in 2018, I'm not no African American. I'm not no no. I just put other. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to use the name the word Creole because Creole is just a name. Creole is not a race. It's not a race. It's a nationality. Just like Puerto Rican. Puerto Rican is not a race. Puerto Rican. The name Puerto. It's a nationality. So there's a difference between a nationality and a race. You see what I'm saying? So that's all I'm gonna say for right now. And hopefully this video can be edifying to somebody. Hopefully I don't have to start over with it. We'll see how it sounds once I go back and look at the playback. All right.